Today I interviewed Jay Chan to get his thoughts on various issues, including the direction of the Conservative Party, pubs, and many more. Before we get started, please hit subscribe and notification bell and make sure to like this video. On with the video. So, as I said, I'm here with Jay Chan today. He is a member of the Conservative Party based in Sutton Coldfield.
Hello, nice to see you. Nice to talk to you. Sorry.
You too, glad to see you again. So, let's get straight on with the interview. So, my first question to you today is what made you join the Conservative Party?
Uh, well, I joined the party when I was 15. I'm pretty autistic at the time, so I decided joining a political party is a good idea. Uh, and it's mainly about the diplomatic policies of the Conservative Party, being more tough on the world stage, being uh, defender of democracy, I one would say. And then I got it also into a capitalist idea of how the country should, how society should work, and I get pretty bought into that idea. So when I joined it at 50, I didn't have that much systematic ideological standpoint for a person my age. I simply joined because they left me a good impression. I agree with some of the policies. Then I slowly start to learn from not just officials of my own party, just not my own colleagues, but also uh, different views from different political parties over a period of times. And I find, it to be still aligned with the views of the Conservative Party is that we need a smaller government, is that we need a free market, and that we are better off with a parliamentary democracy and our constitutional orders in action.
Continuing with that, with the current direction of the Conservative Party, as we all know, polling has dramatically gone down since the general election.
Yes.
Um, but as a member, do you approve of the current direction of the Conservative Party?
Well, you see, I we just lost a major general election. It is a massive loss. I will say it's a historic loss. I don't think we've ever had that level of loss before. So it's something. It still comes to time after a year to consider where we stand on different policies, and it obviously takes time. I do think it is taking too much of a time for the party to recover from it, especially providing how we lost at the local election, which arguably is not that bad, providing we won a lot of the seats during the pandemic in an unprecedented success. After that, we have an unprecedented defeat nationally. So it comes to that whether we can rebalance the party, whether we can actually get the different views of the party together. And I don't think we have made our mind up yet about what our party is and what policies are we actually pursuing to. And the sooner we get it done, the better we are better off we are. We already have some key policies which are from the previous manifesto, and also when it comes to opposing Labour's policy, we are a good party when holding them into account, which is the job of the opposition party, which we are taking very professionally. However, when it comes to a party of government, which means you have to have a fully costed, a very comprehensive list of policies that people can trust you, say, I believe in their plan and I want to send you in the government. I don't think we have that plan in our hand yet, but we are making them, especially at the next conference. I believe there will be a huge political forum going on there into discussing these policies and these specific plans, and we hope to see more coming through soon.
Well, you say that the Conservative Party is doing a good job in opposition, but it seems that they're on the mainstream media that they're saying Kemi Badenoch's a weak opposition leader. So how
Uh,
would you respond to that?
Well, I don't think Kemi is weak opposition leader. I think she's getting very good at prime minister question. I think she is getting very good at scrutinizing the government's figure, very good at scrutinizing government's policy, and she have raised very valid, very widely agreed upon criticisms over the government's policy, including on the welfare bill. She's one who highlighted that we need to balance the bill when especially when it comes to two-child benefit caps, that all party seemingly wants to scrap them. But by scrapping that, we have to understand that there will be extra cost, and the government haven't provided that much cost. We also highlighted how the government seemingly really likes to use. After a year of the in government, really likes to use 14 years of Tory government and 22 billion black hole. Well, they can use it, but they're only meant to use it when they have an alternative plan, but there seems to have a lack of plan. The numbers don't add up. They are spending billions in total, so millions per year, into the Chagos Island deal, especially when it comes to surrendering an island to another country, and you pay money for them just to keep your military base. That doesn't seem to make sense. Also, on farm tax and jobs tax, these two policies are also opposed by by many people, even within the Labour Chamber. So we're pointing these problem out. Hopefully, the Prime Minister did U-turn on some of them, especially on the National Inquiry grooming gangs, especially on the U-turn on winter fuel allowance. These U-turns are pushed by the Conservatives and their own oppositions, and we are highlighting them, putting them out in public. And as opposition, it's important that we have this scrutinizing power there. And I think we're doing a brilliant job. I think we can. The Conservatives have always been doing a great job in opposition. I believe, whether it's under Hague, Michael Howard, or David Cameron, we have done a marvelous job in opposition.
Continuing with the leadership of the Conservative Party, who did you vote for in the last leadership election?
I voted for Robert Jenrick. I think he has a better plan. I originally supported the two One Nation candidates, so the slightly more moderate one. So Tom Tugendhat and James Cleverly. So they are considered what we consider One Nation Conservatives, who move slightly to the centre than to the right. And then we also have Robert Jenrick and Kemi, so they're more right-wing candidates. And Kemi has an idea of renewal 2030 or 2050. Her idea is to only by that time we can slowly rebuild our policy platform, which is something I sadly I do not fully agree on. I think Kemi has a lack of policies. She have a lot of emphasis on internal party democracy, which I welcome. But I like Robert. She doesn't have at least a concept or a plan about like the country overall and what would they do when we get into government, and that's not very clear. So to provide myself, I love clarity. So provide myself with more clarity, I vote for Robert Jenrick. And also, I like Robert Jenrick himself. I met him. I also met Kemi. I love them both, but I like Robert Jenrick. I think he's a trustworthy guy. So in the last two candidates, I supported Robert.
Well, when you said that Kemi doesn't have policy, then why in the previous question did you say that the Conservative Party now building policy?
Because we're building it. We don't have it, so that's why we are building it.
I
So
see.
we imagine the last election, the last two election, I would say, the last general election and the last local election as a rolling ball that smash down a building that we built, and then now we're just repaving the ground, replastering the wall, and then put on the bricks and brickworks and the woodworks of our houses. That last election is like a hurricane of house fire that burns everything down, and we will have to build them up. It's just when I supported Robert Jenrick, I think he has a more of a designing side of it. Like he had a sketch of the new building done already on the paper, and I can see
I
it.
see.
But Kemi is saying we can discuss what the sketch should be, and you should trust me on doing that. So Kemi is now the leader. I have confidence in her. I'm a party member. She's my leader, and members have voted for her, and she's my leader, and I follow her lead. And what we're doing now is we are doing the designing, and then we're going to lay the bricks. But I just personally think it's taking a bit too much time, and especially when I'm interacting with other people, I seem to say, what where do we actually stand on different sort of policies, especially, on policies of welfare, which what we were talking about, we're opposing Labour on their plans, but what are our plans and how do we fund it, especially. We support True Child Benefit Cap, but how do we address the issues raised by True Child Benefit Cap? Can we mitigate them? How much would the mitigating factors cost? Can we reform the welfare policy overall, providing that concerning figures about foreign nationals claiming benefits, concerning figures about how people claim benefits? Some people claim benefits are very impoverished, but some of them are very are claiming too much. Some people are claiming too little. Some people are claiming too much. So it seems to be unfair. How do we make it more fair? And how much would that reform cost? Immigration. We want to rewind the policy. Labour scrapped it. Should we restart it again, or should we stick to the French plan that Keir Starmer had made, which seems watered down? But does that work? So all these things are all these questions when it comes to different policy. There will be countless questions for us to answer, and I think the longer it takes, the less likely we are going to convince and tell the people that our plan can work when we don't have a plan.
Well, with party leadership, if you can make any sitting MP party leader, who would it be?
Um, I don't know. I think I want James Cleverly to be leader. I think he'll be a great leader. Or Tom Tugendhat. I originally supported them, so I'm biased. I could actually put Theresa May is not an MP anymore. I could actually put if can I put former MPs?
Uh, I suppose.
Uh, I think we can put Theresa May as leader. She will have a very centrist view, which I don't know if that'll flop or not. She's actually slightly more socially liberal than Labour at some point on.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, no, Labour seems to have switched socially to the right a lot, especially when it comes to banning children from being taught transgender material. Most of the policies I can agree with. Sadly, sadly for you, I agree with their policy to ban the use of hormone therapy for children with gender dysphoria. I think that is too radical and think they're brilliant therapies that already being used on most of these patients and they are doing very well now. Most transgender children don't never need to access to hormone therapy in the first place. And I also think about recognizing men and women as with their biological sex. I believe that have nothing to do with how we can respect them. I think simply affirming what a man and a woman is doesn't mean you can be rude and disrespectful to another person or just deliberately calling a transgender a woman a man. I think that's just rude. That's just is just ridiculous. But we still need to affirm what's right and wrong. But when it comes to the fundamental question here, is Labour has seemingly going further and further into the right about social issues than they have been before. They made many U-turns on these issues. Some of them I can agree with. Some of them actually I think they're gone too far. So perhaps if we bring back Theresa May, we can get a lot of the centre ground voters. With Tom Tugendhat, James Cleverly, perhaps we can also get the centre voters that we can win back the centre ground, which is what seems to be an election winner. But at the same time, we also need a leader that can provide a good prospect on our policies on immigration, providing that is the top two issues that our public care about. One is economy, and the other is immigration. We also need to have a prospect of growth. So when are we building these houses? How are we building them? And how can we ensure that our economy can keep growing so we can have the tax revenue to afford our healthcare, to afford our education? Those are the two aspects that people most care about, and they all relate to one and another.
As a lot of people know, recently he started doing a tour of the UK, going to each constituency and downing a pint.
Yes.
And for me, I didn't know this, but what motivated you to start doing your
Well,
650
I
pint tour?
well, you see, after general election, I lost my job as an MP intern. So I used to get paid a little bit of that intern job, but I lost my job, so I have no job. So I tried to do warehouse job. I tried to find all the other things in interest, but none of them work out. But um, then I want to find purpose of my life. While finding a part-time job, I want to do something really interesting and something that I can get good at. So policies, I like to read about policy. I like to advocate for them. So I reminded myself of an experience when I used to work for Mark Olongi, the former MP for Dudley North, and I had worked on the Cricket House, and which got burned down sadly after they closed down of alleged arson attack. What it means is there are so much things that we can work on to prevent another Cricket House, to prevent great pubs like Cricket House from closing, and to keep our boozers and breweries alive. And there are many breweries in Birmingham. If you notice, you live. So there are many
I
great pubs,
do.
and they're very great, brilliant pubs there, and people don't actually know them and don't go to them. I think it's right that we advocate not only on policies but also on awareness. So we get the political awareness, we get the public awareness, and we get the policies on. So the policies including cutting the VAT on food and drinks that the pubs are selling, uh, cutting alcohol duty when they're selling pubs, especially when they are accountable for less harmful drinking. You can't be served more alcohol when you are obviously drunk, but you can crack open how many cans as you like if you're drinking privately from an off-sale store. There's also more revenue generated in the pubs industry with staff, with jobs, with people socializing with each other is an important third place. So they need to be taxed because there's support for that. The previous government put in a 75% business tax relief for eligible hospitality industry, and I think we should bring them back. Perhaps responsibly, not 75%, but at least at some percentage, there needs to be more support for these hospitality industry acting as a vital third place for British people, men and women like ourselves. After they go to work, they sit in a pub with their friends. For young people like yourself, when you grow up
Yeah.
to my age, you probably enjoy a drink and and some snacks in a pub with your friends. Brilliant opportunity to do so. So when it comes to that, I want to say I want to do something eye-catching. I want to advocate for this policy. I'm going to research them while I'm doing my part-time job now as interpreter. So I'm doing both at the moment. So one is part-time job, one is my pint campaign, and I love doing it because I have a purpose and I also have a very meaningful job. So that's how I get my life back on track. I would say the motivation is my love to pubs, but also my motivation is that my life is off track now after the election, so I have to put it back onto somewhere I can find a meaningful. But there we go. I'm very happy now, and I love doing what I'm doing.
How do you feel about the way British pubs are treated regarding regulations and as well new laws?
Well, there's a Labour law, I believe, coming through. I haven't. They haven't released a bill, so can't read it. But I think the Cooperative Party, in coalition with them, have released some posts about how the new local community empowerment bill. What a weird name, but local empowerment bill or whatever like that. So they will have a new bill into Parliament soon, and in some of them they would consider deregulating pub industry, which is something I welcome. And if I read it, I think, yeah, they're workable. I'll gladly support them. I can support that goal, not perhaps this whole bill. And also another autumn budget is coming. Time flies. So another autumn budget is coming, and we will see what budget action Rachel Reeves will be taking. Oh, will she stay until then? Who knows? What action Rachel Reeves will be taking at the autumn budget? And there's something I want to advocate, and that's the same policy: cut VAT for pubs, cut taxes for pubs, and also cut alcohol duty for pubs. Alcohol duty is actually 3 times it needs to be. So alcohol duty is people drinking alcohol are at higher risk of perhaps needing to go to hospital, and people take that risk because alcohol is lovely and they're fun. I love it. So they put in extra cost for National Health Service, so the government tax it. So they put the money they buy alcohol from and put it into the government revenue because they cost them more, and that gap there is just 1/3 of the revenue we get from alcohol duty. So we have a space to cut it. By cutting alcohol duty, it wouldn't mean those people would have, would be able to use our extra national service resources without paying anything. They will still pay double the amount at least. So there's a space for cutting it. And there's something responsible with thinking about the hospitality tax break, as well as incentives to local communities. Should we bring back eating meals on public railway? Perhaps close down some streets from time to time and let the restaurants and pubs to open their own stores outside. Perhaps that can boost up the local economy. Can we empower local communities to put on stores on the high street, to put on fun fairs on the high street? Can we empower that to happen? Can we pedestrianize some of the high streets, the core part of the high street, that make them greener, cleaner, and more appealing? Can we invest in public transport? All these investments are very important when it comes to supporting pubs and breweries. But there's also things I really care about, especially housing. I really want to get more housing. But again, about my campaign, Pubs and Brewery, the many things I have to explore on, and the more the government will release, the more I would be able to read it and react to it. Perhaps write my letters, email my MPs, and get these petitions running to try to change some of the policies themselves.
As some people might know, you started a WhatsApp group called the Chanservatives.
Yes, the best in
Um,
the world.
why did you start the
It started a
Chanservatives?
long time ago. So started by another person
Oh,
who's a Conservative Parliament member when Liz Truss resigned. So when after Boris resigned, Liz Truss got in, and it was the Queen sadly died, and then it was a short but chaotic and vigorous period. And I'd been pretty sort of the cringe little boy that likes to make statements online, write these nicely designed statements online as if I'm some really senior politician, but I'm not. So well, I was 16, 17 then, so don't blame me. People, I get a little bit of infamous fame or famous fame in the party. I would say so. People say, "Oh, why don't we make this kid our party leader, the prime minister?" Provided how badly screwed up we have as a party. So it started as a group chat for J for Leader. So it's pretty cool. It's called Chan for Leader, I believe, because Chan and change have the same word. And
huh.
Chan fit in a lot of things like Chan service, Chanstitution. So we had our full-on campaign group about a Chan for Leader. Obviously, I did not stand. So after that, we rebranded to Chan Services. That group chat shortly got closed down, and I have started a new group chat with about 40 to 50 people at the start, and now we are at about 190 people now. It was 200, but someone got really annoying, which we know who, and then that got reduced to 190. Since 2022 all the way to 2024, we tried a lot of ways to manage our party. We have pretty much a scandal every year. So the first year is the Ted G scandal. So he's a nonce who sent a picture of his bulge to a 15-year-old girl in our group chat who was still here.
Right.
I will not tell who. And then that was not dealt with correctly because I was underage and I want to see the evidence, which I legally can't. So I kept asking for evidence, but they can't give me. Some of them gave me evidence again of the less explicit bit. Then I kicked them out. So then we are reforming how our party are managed. Then we got a groomer who tried to groom me when I was 17, and then after that I decided, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing the decision making bit. So we started in party democracy. So since April 2024, we started the constitution of the party, and we made chairman electable. So we directly elect our chairman, who will advise me. And then we complicated our entire system. So now we have several independent institutions doing their own decisions, and I would be acting as a mechanism within, as a constitutional liaison person within different institutions. So there will be more mistake tolerance. So most of the time I make the good decisions, but some of the time I make bad decisions. So the more people we have in a system, the more check and balances we have in the system, the less likely my mistakes is going to have caused a serious consequences, as these two scandals happened before. And each of these scandals means we are better at reacting to these situations. So we reacted to many crises very well after we have the chairman system, including the issues on including issues of giving moderation more power to lock chat, since we can do that. So many spamming of NSF to sexual explicit images, which happened like 2 or 3 times, have been reacted promptly within minutes. There have been cases of sexual harassment dealt with within weeks. We removed him immediately, and we get through him through a tribunal, our internal disciplinary tribunal system, and he's removed out of a very based on our actual principles, internal rules, saying internal rules says he needs to be removed, and therefore we removed him, and that's no decision making on my point of view. Is he is removed based on the rules of the group. So that's how we get things working, because I play less of a part. Therefore, my mistakes are less likely to affect everyone. And then we also have the problem, several harassment cases that resulted in removal, several sexual harassment, grooming cases that resulted in removal immediately. You can check the records. There's a case of discipline cases there. And we often have the debate on where do we draw the line between freedom of speech and safeguarding members. What legislation we should have, including you yourself in the party. You're the portfolio holder for health and well-being. You provide a private members bill, which I'm gonna prove it today, so it get enacted tomorrow, to prohibit the promotion of conversion practices in the party. So we're still building up what we can do, cannot do, and how our institutions should work. Therefore, none of your mistakes, not Lucas's mistake, the chairman's mistake, none of Carl's mistake, of my mistake, is going to cause a massive trouble, because we're all acting within the framework of the rule of law. So it's a great experiment of the British institutions and values. It's a great experiment of why it works, because if you have a dictatorship like we had before, a dictator make a mistake, therefore the entire group is in massive trouble. But if you have a system of check and balances and a rule of law, you and a very sophisticated legislative system like we do have here, then individual mistakes play less of a part. They become institutional problems that we can save by dialogue, instead of blaming it all on one person or blaming it all on a group of people. So no certain group of people in chance have the whole absolute power, and that's a great thing with the separation and the check and balances.
Regarding the Conservatives,
Yeah.
recently we've seen quite a few members say some things that other members have made them feel uncomfortable. For instance, we've seen the promotion of conversion therapy, we've seen the promotion of Tommy Robinson, and as well we've seen members abuse other members to a very much extreme level. And how do you feel about some of those things that are
Uh,
said?
I, as leader, I do not endorse any of this behavior, and as leader, I'm also the head of moderation, meaning I have intervened many times into trying to solve this problem out. But again, we have to act under the framework of our internal rules. That's why they're called rules, and my powers are limited. So we have to look at when are these incidents becoming a violation, an offence under our rules. When they come to the point where we need to intervene, which is anytime we can intervene, anytime we can just remove them, get them in, remove them, get them in again, and then providing these problems, can we have more power of intervention? So the intervention time came from 24 hours to 72 hours, which is a massive increase, 3-time increase in removal time in the Disciplinary Justice Act. A massive improvement of how long we can actually remove a person from the party for a suspected offence. Then we have reform over the length limit of prosecution, so we get more time in prosecuting people, which is something I welcome as both head of MOD and head of whips. And then we have the sentencing guidance, which give us more clarity into what we can do. I would say I personally do regret not intervening many times at the right time, because there are times when I can directly intervene, but because the mood of the party is against intervention, then I was hesitant about it. But I still intervene, I believe, most of the time at the right time, correctly. And most members can't be found, can't be punished for an actual offence, because they are in the really grey area. There's bad people on one side, there's good people on one side, and most in the middle is what we encountered on a day-to-day basis. Most of it in the grey area, there's no prospect of actually punishing them for anything. The justices won't agree to it, the whips don't agree not even the whips have to agree with it. So we are now trying to apply existing legislations and introducing new legislations. I'm encouraging the board to do that, into trying to improve our ability to do the right thing to safeguard children. So we have seen a reduction in bullying against the chairman, which happened since the election period, into sections and sections and sections of harassing behavior against him over a course of weeks. But then we see that's calming down once we have declared that we will be using the Safeguarding of Children Act, because the chairman is children. That can constitute a serious offence if you keep being rude, even being rude to him, actually causing him and damages. That's an offence now. So we try to approach it by harassment, but that gets turned down by the justices because they believe is heckling. Be giving the heckling defence. So they only believe that if you are saying in a public domain, you have to be more malicious when it comes to what you say to constitute harassment, because you're saying as heckling. But if you're DMing, as long as someone wants it and create a humiliating environment for him, then that you are convictable. So there's many different things to consider, and we are growing into a more and more mature party, into our own disciplinary system, and we have been able to intervene in time. About the Charlie S, which been a member shortly for a period of time, because the story is like that. He was the chairman. He was removed from chairman for supporting Tom Robinson. He was prohibited from party membership in the Terrorist and Extremist Entities Act. He's considered to be a supporter of an extremist entity. That act got repealed, replaced by Extremism Act, introduced by the national government, and they say extremism should be put into 3 categories. So A is a terrorist, so the prescribed ones. B is the violent one, and C is the non-violent one. So you're able to support yourself a non-violent extremist entity, including Tommy Robinson, but you are not able to promote it within the party channel. We believe, at least I believed, because I drafted it, I believe it was a reasonable adjustment of policies, because there are different levels of extremism, and therefore we should react to different levels of extremism differently. And I personally, I don't, because Conservative is not a political party, we do not have to uphold a political doctrine. We're not running for elections. We don't need to keep a line of discipline for our members on their ideological beliefs. So I think it perhaps it does not go to our extent to say you cannot support someone who would believe is extreme but not violent. You can only be prohibited from even entering the party if you are supporting something violent. But considering that, we also need to consider what ideologies are considered extremism, because you're not allowed to promote any A, B, or C category extremism to the ideology. And then we found that Charlie S actually didn't promote any of them. He was edgy, but he wasn't promoting any extremist ideologies like racism, explicit racism, hate against people, and wanting them to be in a worse position in society. That objectively didn't happen. On about the cases that we have had lengthy consideration about, and that's the case of conversion therapy promoted by a few party members, especially one who had left. The decision was made that was his opinion. He wasn't asking a party member to go to conversion therapy. He was expressing his opinion on conversion therapy. But so that is the job of the legislature, not us. So we can only stop him from doing that. So we can remove those messages from the group chat, but we can't remove him. I can't discipline him because he wasn't giving out medical advice, which is prohibited. But then we got your private members bill, which I drafted, by the way. Then we got that prohibited as well. So it's fixed the loophole. So if he comes back, he will not be able to be speaking on his support to therapy, but he will only be able to say he can disagree with the ban on it. He can disagree with policy, but he can no longer promote that therapy to the party more widely. So you can see it comes with many contextual matters. It comes to how it is perceived, that who is perceiving it. Unless you're literally sending dick pics in the group chat, there's no white and black and whites, and it comes to the jobs of many different institutions. Very careful consideration of each cases. That's why I say, many people say you don't kick them out soon enough, but I say, if that power is given to me, I would not be able to kick out people when I need to be, because I have been given that power and that responsibility. That power should be taken away from me into a process, in a sophisticated process under the rules of the group, of the community, that takes that power and responsibility away from me over these institutions with their own checks and balances. Obviously, that will take longer time, but we are given the power to immediately take action to isolate those threats, to neutralize those threats, while we're going to sort out these removals, what interventions we can take later on. But yes, we have removed all people and added back because our system no longer believe that it's worth or is appropriate under the rules to discipline against them.
Would you ever be interested in running for an elected position, if that's an MP,
No, I'm not
councillor?
for an MP now, and I'm not sure I'm not a citizen yet.
Ah,
I'm not sure. If they want me to stand for something, sure. If they didn't ask me, I wouldn't volunteer. I wouldn't go to the office and say I want to run for something. And then no, I'll be pretty happy with a non-elected position. I like to be an advisor. I like to be, I like to be nonchalant, but sitting behind the computer and be cute. I don't want to be standing in front of. No, so tiring being an MP. I have to go. It's better in Brum, but is much harsher if you live in the outer skirt of Brum, because you have to travel into Birmingham and then travel back to London. That's going to cost a lot of money and a lot of time. It's awful. Cross-country train service is awful. Besides, if you have the trolley problem, but yeah, in the UK, and cross-country service is no longer a trolley problem. It's a cancellation problem because all of them are cancelled. So you get enough time to untie both of them. So that's a good thing, because we don't have trolley problems in the UK because they never bloody come. But anyway, it's painful traveling around the UK. You can agree with me on that.
yeah.
And going to Westminster early in the morning to do your early business, and then all day doing whatever you have to do, and all that, thousands of emails from your constituents, and you have to hire several staffers. That's just too many for me now. I like to be a little town councillor, just like cutting ribbons, representing my local people. Like, those flowers are rotten. Can we plant a new one? Those potholes are getting bigger. Can we fix them? the fences, put on new fences there to prevent the cars going on the grass, and because they're very annoying. Can we like make a speed hump so the car drives slower near the school zones. Those are slightly easier things, but this are very good responsibilities. They're very important works, but they're easier. This part-time job for a reason. So I like to be a counsellor, but if they don't want me to stand, then I wouldn't volunteer to stand myself. I wouldn't go ahead and say, make me that counsellor. I might try, but I'm gonna be nonchalant about it. I'm not gonna be very eager to do that. I like to be a advisor, researcher, just to look at documents, computers, do my autistic things at my home, at my desk, and my offices. And I have this shaker. I get it from a store in the University of Brum Open Day, and they have rice in it and makes that lovely noise when you shake it. So that's the thing I'm into. So I'm probably too autistic to be a politician.
If you ever had the opportunity to present a bill to the House of Commons, what would it be about?
Um, I think it's about well, I written many. I try to write many bills, but I'm never a good bill writer about the quality you need for a real life bill because it's so complicated. I never studied law. If it's about a bill, the first thing I want to do is to repeal the vaping and tobacco bill, or to repeal the many things I want to repeal. I want to repeal the what can I do? I really oppose the idea of banning adults from smoking by increasing the age limit a year by year. So now 14-year-olds, when they could become an adult, they can't make their own health decisions. But I want to repeal that. But that would be a bad answer because it's just one of the policies I disagree with. I also disagree with the end of life bill. But can I introduce a better one? I doubt that. Let's rename Totem into shit. I mean, let's rename. Let's give Reading a city status. There we go. Let's give Reading and Reading. No, Reddish you want a city status. Let's give Reading. Let's give what's that thing? Shrewsbury a city status. Let's give them a city status, and let's give Watford a city status. That's fine. And also, I want to simplify our local government, so make them simpler. So we get a district council or city council, and then either a Met mayor or a county council. So we only get 2 levels. So we know we will not have or town council or parish under that. Ignore that. So we're not having they're not having a free fall system over there. We're not having these ambiguous systems over there. I also want to annex Ireland. No, I want to give. I want a gradual voting system, so 15-year-olds can vote in the parish, and escalating all the way to high and high level of the local government until 18 you can vote in the general election. There's many bills I want to take, but I can't actually make what's more important to another.
Yeah, very interesting.
Let's make Southern Caulfield independent.
Sorry?
Let's make Southern Caulfield an independent sovereign country. There we go. Go on. Anyway.
On a final question, do you regret the baby oil moment? No.
1 minute. What? Sorry, can you repeat your question again?
Do you regret the baby oil moment?
Well, it's a complicated question, isn't it? Well, no, I don't. Perhaps that joke was a bit that graphic itself, as you can see over here. Is it hang on? Perhaps I shouldn't have mentioned the name of that person, but this My entire defense during the entire debate is that the baby oil is a symbol of an event. Therefore, it's like people, you can joke about 9/11 because they have a plane and two towers, but you never joke about the victims. So you never look at the victims, mock the victims, and laugh at them in the face. You never
Yeah.
look at the firefighters who sacrificed their life and laugh in their face. Those are the direct element, direct consequence of the disaster. But can you say my father is the greatest pilot in the Middle East? Yes, because these are the outer element of the incident. So I never look at Diddy's victim and laugh at her in the face, or them in the face, or him in the face, or mock their
Yeah.
faces, or mock these direct elements. These are baby oils that got wide attentions, and people are already joking about it. This is an abstract symbol diverted from that incident, like the two tower in the plane, like that Middle East pilot, being dragged out from this incident, which is tragic and horrible, into a humorous object. People will look at it like yourself and you laughed at it because it's funny. Why? No one knows why. We live in a postmodern society. There's no more objective reality now. But that's funny. And, someday you will look at this pen and think it's funny. And it perhaps comes from some tragic event or very great event. You will look at those two couples who have cheated and probably have their family and reputation broken up, and you will still mock them. Those tragic events have always, nearly every single tragic event in the world that happens recently or in the past, have had something being separated out of it that makes it very funny. And there are times and platforms where you can make them. So I will never hold a baby oil and laugh at people in a woman's shelter, but I would do that online. I probably do that with my friends in a pub. So there are contexts and times when some of them are completely unacceptable. There are also certain events that way too sensitive to do that. That is more sensitive than 9/11. So I will never make jokes about the Holocaust, but I would make jokes about Pol Pot or the Cultural Revolution, like we always do. I want to buy a Mao's Little Red Book because that's very funny. And remember that MP, who's that Labour MP that threw the Mao's Little Red Book to David Cameron? It's George Osborne. Who's that? Who's that guy? He's a very iconic guy. Do you remember?
David Skinner.
Yes, Skinner. So he's using a symbol of a tragedy that kills millions of people in China into it. But there's several things that our society haven't adapted to yet. So the Holocaust, you can never make jokes about it. The person trying to take an Anne Frank musical, I still find that a bit too far.
Sorry,
But
what?
things like the Mouse to the Red Book, things like Pope Hoss glasses, things like the CIA collateral damages, things like many historical jokes, dark humor. They are a very important part of our society. It's important that we navigate our way through it. And it's always been our defense that the baby oil is funny. You laughed at it, and everyone found it funny. So I'm gonna keep doing it. And this is my baby oil. I kept it all. I'm keeping it forever. And it's a beautiful baby oil. Look at that. One day I will do a charity sale of baby oil for a charity that of my choice. So the divine liquid will have its name cleared, and one day I'll do a charity sale, and I hope to see you there.
Well, I must say thank you for giving up your time
No
to do
worries,
this interview with me.
always good.
And it was excellent to see many issues from a point of view that is completely alien to me or that I disagree with. So I'd like to thank you for joining me today. Um,
Yeah,
and I hope maybe one day we could do this again.
sure. Thank you.
Okay. Have a lovely day.
You as well. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
If you enjoyed videos like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. Also consider subscribing, which you can see up there, and as well clicking on the playlist above me.